Welcome to episode 68 of New Hampshire Knits, coming to you from the gorgeous state of New Hampshire, where our state motto is knit free or die. Today is Friday, October 13th, woo, and I'm your host, Claire. This episode is sponsored by the WoollyThistle.com. The Woolly Thistle brings the best of British yarn to us here in the United States. New British yarns coming soon include Southdown yarns, and that is a single flock breed of Southdown from the Southdowns in England. Louise of Southdown Yarns sources the wool and has it spun up in England and dyes the yarn with natural dyes. Also coming is yarn from Scottish alpaca aficionado Jane Green, who is New Leaf Yarns. I'm very excited about her work of blending alpaca with breed-specific wool, all from the United Kingdom. So let the Woolly Thistle do the international shipping so you don't have to. Golly, I almost got into general blether about the Woolly Thistle right away there. I do apologize. It's just so exciting. There's just always so much happening. And of course, this is the knitters' season. Where we're coming into fall finally. I wore a hat this morning on my walk and mittens, and it felt really, really good. So yes, knitters are getting their knit on, and the Woolly Thistle is very busy, but not to talk about that now. That'll come up. How are you doing? Are you knitting? Are you getting lots of knitting in, or is life taking over and you're not getting to do your knitting as much as you'd like? That is a little bit about what's happening with me. However, I do find squishing a ball of yarn gets me through the day. So if you don't have time to knit, just have a wee stroke of that favourite skein of yarn, and that might just see you through until you do get to knit. I attended the Vermont Sheep and Wool Festival a couple of weekends ago with a couple of good friends, and it was a lovely day, a beautiful Vermont fall day. The leaves were golden and orange, although the colours this year are not as good as years gone by, but that's okay. It was a beautiful blue sky day, very crisp, and we knitted and drank cider and shopped and saw all our friends. I love Vermont Sheep and Wool. It's a nice small festival, but it's very cozy feeling, and the weather is usually good for it. Thanks so much for letting me know you enjoyed my chat with Meg of Berlin Yarns, which was in the last episode. Meg lives on the Isle of Berneray and produces Berlin yarn wool from her flock of Hebridean sheep. It was a perfectly wonderful day that we spent with Meg on her craft, and again, thank you, Meg, for your generosity and for talking to us. Lots and lots of you enjoyed that chat, and if you haven't had a chance to listen to it, make sure you do. Before we get started, I have been contacted about a project that I want to share with you because I think it's a very honourable project. It's called Project Peace, and it's an annual knit along from December 1st through the 21st, culminating on Worldwide Knit and Peace Day. So I was contacted by Christina Campbell, who on Instagram is The Healthy Knitter. She has a blog called The Healthy Knitter as well at thehealthyknitter.com. And she came up with this Project Peace idea for knitters over coffee with a friend, and she was sort of joking, but it culminated into action last year where she released a pattern. And it had over 25,000 downloads last year, where knitters downloaded the pattern, all knit the same pattern over those 3 weeks starting on December 1st, and really came together as knitters working on a project for peace. So Christine would love it if we could come together as knitters around the world and do something grand for ourselves and others by knitting this pattern. And this year the pattern is a shawl. It's accessible to all knitterly levels, and it can be knit in any yarn. and it's written for fingering and DK weights, but it could be knit in any weight really, any type of wool. To go along with this, there are going to be daily posts on the Healthy Knitter blog that will give us food for thought and peaceful thoughts as well. Christina is going to charge a nominal price for the pattern this year, with a substantial portion of the profits going to charities that help promote educating youth on how to lead healthy lives with a focus on gardening, food, farming and/or fibre. The theme for this year's pattern will be the ripple effect. As each one of us makes peaceful choices, this will impact others, our own version of Pay It Forward. The pattern is simple enough, allowing accessibility to most knitters, yet is adaptable to allow for creative expression of what peace means to you. Project Peace can be found on thehealthyknitter.com, and if you're interested, I hope that you will consider getting on board. There will be pre-orders for the pattern beginning November 15th, and the pattern will be available on December 1. Okay, so thank you everybody for tuning in for another episode of New Hampshire Knits. Let's get started, shall we? This episode includes On the Needles, Off the Needles, a little bit from Shetland, a Coop Cast, and a Woolly Thistle update, and we'll wrap it up after that. Okay, so on the needles, I'm almost finished my vest that I'm knitting in Berlin Yarn Company's DK weight in PT Brown, which is a very dark chocolate brown colour. And the pattern that I'm riffing off is Carla by Sarah Hatton for Rowan, and this was a sweater, cables on the front and stockinette sleeves and back. And this was actually a sweater that Meg was wearing the day we met, and I loved it on her. It looked really nice. What I ended up doing was taking the stitch count and the cable design, and I transformed the knitting pattern into a pattern for myself for a vest. And I've done cables up the front and the back. I've made it a V-neck instead of whatever kind of neck it was, and no sleeves. Because it's DK weight, I think the yarn is pretty warm. It's from Hebridean sheep where life is cold on the Hebrides. So I knew this was going to be a really warm garment and that it might be too warm as a sweater. So yeah, I decided to go with a vest, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. The pattern was written in pieces, and I've never knitted a garment in pieces before. So I decided, because I was going to be changing things up, that I wouldn't also convert it to be knitted in the round. So I started off by knitting the front, and it knitted up very quickly. And then I used Anne Budd's handy book of top-down sweaters, I think is the name of the book, where she basically has recipes with all the numbers you need based on your gauge. And but that's for top-down, and I was knitting this bottom-up. So I basically rewrote the instructions from the bottom-up, reversing what she'd written top-down. And I was able to make a nice V-neck in the pattern. So that was good. And then, but what I did find was, as usual, it wasn't going to quite fit. At least I thought it wasn't going to quite fit, because I couldn't try it on. It was just a front. But I felt like I could use a couple of extra stitches to just get around the circumference to my halfway point. So when I cast on the back, I added stitches to the back, and I figured out a way that I could join the front and the back more near the front than halfway. So I had more stitches on the back, but once I seamed it together, it would look seamless, and that's what I did. I know I'm not explaining that right. But basically, instead of stretching the front to meet my halfway point, I let that sit the way it wanted to sit, and I added stitches to the back to meet the front. And the way I did it, it looks like I have seams running down the halfway point where you would expect the seam to be. Verklempt, can't explain things. So I did that, and then let me think. Then I did a 3-needle bind off on both the shoulder seams, and that then allowed me to pick up stitches around the neck hole and do a little ribbing for that. And the first time I did that, I picked up the stitches fine, but when I cast off, it was too tight. So I ended up ripping out that cast off and then doing Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off, just so I could get my head through the hole and that it wasn't all, misshapen. And that worked out really well. So the V-neck is done, my shoulder seams are done, and then I stitched up these side seams. And oh my gosh, I loved doing that. The mattress stitch was really easy and fun. I thought I should probably block everything first, but I was impatient. And I just thought, well, I can give it a go. And I did. And it was invisible and magic and fantastic. Really thoroughly enjoyed myself doing that. Yeah, I don't understand why people don't like that. I mean, it was a straight seam. There was no sleeve caps or anything to worry about, but a great beginner mattress stitch project. So I would highly recommend that. I might start thinking about knitting things in pieces going forward, because the pieces knit up so quickly because I was only knitting half the garment. So yeah. And of course, I didn't mind purling back on the back rows because it was cabled. So I was knitting as much as purling on both sides of the garment. And I think that was the deciding factor in just sticking with knitting it in pieces. I wasn't really going to gain anything by changing it all to knit in the round. And this gave me a chance to try a new technique of knitting in pieces. So I really enjoyed stitching that up. I think I did a decent job where it looks invisible. It's magic. So now I just have to pick up stitches around the armholes. But before I do that, I'll hopefully get that done this weekend. I did try it on and it fit. I was really happy and quite proud of my cleverness at faking the where the seams are so that I can fit my ample body into this. So I'm hoping that this is going to be my Rhinebeck sweater or my Rhinebeck vest. And if you see me at Rhinebeck, because I am going. Yes, so if you see me at Rhinebeck, do come and say hello. I'm going to have the Woolly Thistles swag with me and happy to hand stuff out. I'll be at the podcaster meetup as well. This is all coming up right round the corner. I'm not quite prepared really to do this, but it's going to happen. I'm going to have a good time. Always do. So yeah, I'll be at the podcaster meetup, but otherwise, if you see me, say hello. I'll have swag to give you if you want it. And yeah, it's going to be a great time. The weather at Rhinebeck, touch wood, has always been really perfect sweater weather with nice blue skies and lovely colours in the trees. Okay, so that's what's on the needles. It's almost off the needles. Off the needles, let's see, a pair of socks that I knitted Jay. They started out as my socks, but for whatever reason, they came out gigantic. And so I just kept going and have made them longer for Jay's foot. They're Hermione's everyday socks, but he doesn't know that, and that's fine. I knitted them in grey Regia sock yarn. It's one of the tweedy ones I had in stash. And so yeah, they're quite masculine and they've got a bit of texture, and I think he's going to really like them. So that's what's off the needles. I got to tell you guys, being October now, it's very, very busy in the shop, which thank you. I love that. But it is eating into any time I had for knitting. So the knitting I'm getting done feels very precious in terms of the time I get to do it. I do love my knitting. And I miss knitting, but like I said, squish a ball of yarn, pet a skein, it gets you through the day. Fantasy knitting. I've because my actual knitting has dropped a little bit lately, I'm keeping in my fantasy knitting section of the podcast, where before I talked about Isolde Teague's Cruden colourwork vest. I'm all about the vests. Have you seen Emily's vest on Fibertown? She is knitting a vest out of Jamieson and Smith. They're 2-ply yarn, but she did not like one of the colours that was in there, so she ripped back and she found a ball of her own stash Jamieson's yarn, and I think she was feeling a little badly that she was using Jamieson's instead of Jamieson and Smith, but using them together. It's okay to do that. You know, I think Jamieson's and Smith are pretty much interchangeable. And I've used them both together. That's not heresy whatsoever. I think Jamieson's yarn is beautiful, and they've got some amazing colours too. So, you know, broaden your stash availability by using them together. And so, but by changing that one colour in her sweater, and I think it's an Isolde T vest as well, in changing that one colour, it seems to have really made a complete difference in the overall look of the vest. So I know she's really happy with that now. So yes, I am working on getting started on Isolde's Cruden, which is a very colourful vest and quite flamboyant or eccentric even. But I'm game for that. Maybe I'll wear it to Rhinebeck next year. It might take me that long to knit it. I am thinking though, and let me know if you have any interest in this, I am thinking of creating kits for the Cruden vest. So I will probably put something on Instagram to that effect when I'm ready to do it. But if you would like to knit the Cruden vest, let me know. Maybe we could knit it together. There's a thought. Okay. So moving on, fantasy knitting. Another fantasy that I want to knit is the Feather and Fern sweater by Jen Steingass, who is Knit Love Wool on Instagram, knit.love.wool. And she is just so prolific these days with her beautiful, beautiful patterns. This one, though, I saw on Susan Speaks Instagram. She's SE Speak on Instagram. And she has this gorgeous, fluffy fern and feather yoke picture of that. And at first I was like, ooh, what is that yarn? Only to realize after I, put my comment on Instagram, only to realize that of course it was Let Lopey. I knew it. I just got too excited. And so she's knitting that in Let Lopey, and it's gorgeous. It looks perfect. So that is definitely high on my fantasy knitting list right now. So let's move right along. I have a little bit of Shetland to share with you. This may be the last piece from my trip to Scotland this summer. You've heard from Anne Sinclair of Fair Isle, and you've heard from Meg Roger of Burn Array in the Outer Hebrides. And today I bring you a little bit of a conversation I had on the island of Shetland with a man whose voice is gravelly and as Shetland as it comes. I am, of course, talking about Oliver Henry. So when we were on Shetland, it was pouring rain, absolutely chucking it down. It was a good Scottish weather day, and my kids and I walked from our hotel and came across, that's what I told the kids, oh look, there's a yarn shop. In actual fact, we'd made a beeline there, but they didn't know that. So we came across Jamieson and Smith's yarn shop, and on going in there, I got to meet Caris, who I deal with for my shop all the time, and it was lovely to meet her. And I got to see Ella Gordon, who I'd met at Edinburgh Yarn Festival last year. So they were in the shop working away, and it was just really great to see them. And then they said, do you want to go looking back? I was like, yeah. And there he was, Oliver Henry, the grader extraordinaire for the wool brokers. So I'm going to let you in on my chat with him. He, if you don't understand what he's saying, then just go with that. Just enjoy the sound of his voice. He's a lovely man. I had my kids with me, like I said, and he dressed up like a Viking for us. You can hear my kids bickering and me telling them off in the background. Yeah, it was a really lovely wee tour that we got of Jamieson and Smith. So yeah, enjoy this.
If you watch the steps, it's pretty slippy. Yeah,
oh, wow.
I'll just move this because this is me when I do the coloured wool. When I grade the coloured wool, then I pick out the finest, and then we take that down here into these bins, and what happens in here is these fleece here must go to hand spinners
because it's the finest.
Yeah. We have still have a lot of Shetland, but this is the super fine Shetland. This goes into to our superior lace.
Oh, lovely. Oh,
The
look at
worsted yarn. And then grade 1, it's still a good wool, but it's a bit woollier. So this is our fine grade. You see, you're starting to see a bit of hair coming. And grade 2 is getting a bit bigger again. Grade 3, there's more guard hair. Grade 4 is a bit rougher. Then underneath here is crossbred, Shetland cross with Cheviot. So what happens here is we try to work with the Shetland. We get that spun done in Huddersfield and some done in the Worcester. I think it's done in Bradford. Caris will be able to tell you. But the crossbreeds, we grade that separate and we sell that on to the parent company because they have markets for that. So we're very fortunate. Since 2005 we've been working on getting all different products out of the Shetland. I'll show you the products in a minute, but if you see this here, this is the natural wool here. This is just the actual colour of the sheep. This is Murret, Shetland black, grey, Sheila. There's about 33 different colours. Markings. As I say, this was super fine.
Is the super fine limited to lamb's wool, or are these mature sheep as well?
First shear, last year's lambs, you're right, yeah. It's a year old. But super fine can also be older sheep as well.
They just have really good fleece.
Because there's still a lot of breeders in Shetland breeding this quality, thank goodness. But a lot of them have moved on to these crossbreeds.
Right. Well, that's what I noticed on Fair Isle is Suffolk's and Cheviot and what was
Fair Isle
Texels.
Yeah, Fair Isle wool is mostly cross wool because it's a green isle.
Right.
There is some hull, but what we have here is the crossbreeds underneath.
Right.
And so we grade it. We also keep an awful lot back to hand sort it. Because what we have here is we have in this 5 grades, you can get the 5 types, you can get the 5 grades in one fleece. So what you have here is, see the guard hair here?
Yeah.
If you put the guard hair through with this, you're going to get a coarse yarn. So what we have to do with this is hand sort it, physically hand sort.
And break it up and put it in pieces.
So this is where rough colour, 1794 first survey on Shetland sheep, between 60 and 80,000 sheep. Most of them were coarse wool, resembling the Spelsaw and Vilsaw of Scandinavia. And probably brought over by the Vikings in the 8th and 9th century, when they settled here. There was, according to the archaeologists, there was an indigenous breed, and it was similar to the Isle of Man and the Soye. I like to think that was the fine wool, because 2 distinct breeds of Shetland. There's the Scandinavian type, and then there's this type. The thing is, they get together and they interbreed, and that's how you end up with 5 grades.
Right.
So that's a real super fine black. Our problem nowadays is we've got so many yarns now that we're running into wool. So the wool price is sky high now here. Watch your feet here. So these are the uses you probably know. This is super fine. Back in the day, the crofter's wife, she would spin up a fine yarn and then knit this, sell it to the German and Dutch Hanseatic merchants. And so what we have here is we're range yarns. This is the latest one.
Yep.
The naturals for the coloured, and that's like a hat yarn. And then you have the two types of lace, the single ply, and that's the supreme lace, and the two ply lace. The heritage range was a job. This was done for the museum.
Right.
So we developed this with the parent company down in Bradford, and I think West Yorkshire, Worsted Spinners. And I'm not sure about that, because I don't think there's many worsted spinners left. So what we have is a one ply and a two ply, and that's in the natural colours. The museum in 2012 asked us to produce a yarn, a worsted, and that's the heritage
That's
range.
knitted in that.
Yeah,
It's really thick feeling.
This is the heritage.
Yeah. Yeah, I sell this and this and that and that.
The problem locally is some of the older knitters in Shetland, they don't realise that this is a Shetland because they're used with woolen spun.
Right.
When I started here in 1967, then we turned somewhat in at Hunters Abroad into a woolen spun. So worsted, as you know, is a completely different yarn. This is the chunky worsted and the iron worsted. These are the comb tops.
Heavy.
You see how smooth that is?
Yeah. Want to feel?
Yeah, see that?
That's it before it's spun.
Yeah.
And you dye in the wool then?
Yeah, it's dyed in the wool. That'll be the parent company here, the last big combing plant. Yeah, so see the beds here? The beds are full of Shetland wool. They're so soft.
These are mattresses?
Yeah, the mattresses are made for Shetland. The heritage, this stuff, is so adaptable it can weave.
Wow.
And this is,
a picture of that.
yeah, and this is my, see here? This is my kirtle.
Is this for Uphelia?
Uphelia. See how smooth that is?
That's beautiful. What's that made with?
And this is the heritage.
It's still the heritage?
See how it drapes?
Yeah.
Tailors.
Is that knitted?
Yeah.
I wonder
This
what
on the
stitch.
Shima power machine.
Oh.
And the Jarl wanted it to imitate woven. See?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
beautiful.
guys.
Stop back.
So, Uphelia, you know? Have you know about Uphelia?
I don't know that you do. Do you know about Uphelia?
In 2014, I was chosen to be a Viking, and this was part of my suit.
They all become
See?
Vikings in January, right?
Yeah, see? That's the axe. You want to hold it. Yeah.
Wow. Look at the feathers on that helmet.
Yeah, so what we have is, since Curtis took over, I mean, I was thrown right in the deep end. I was told one day I would have to be the manager, and I hadn't a clue.
Right.
And they said, what we're going to do is turn the wool around, make it into a viable a business, and pay the crofters a lot more.
Right.
And I'm pleased to say, because of all this, that we were doing that. The price is fairly high.
Yeah.
The beds, the duvets, full of Shetland wool.
Gosh, lovely.
Yeah.
I wondered why there were beds in here.
See the carpets.
Yeah.
These are natural from the rougher colour, and this is the carpets, natural carpets.
Wow.
That's them there.
Wow.
So
it runs the whole spectrum of products.
I mean, when I came here first in 2005, and 1967 up till 2005, it was primarily wool, and we did some woolen spun.
Aye.
But it's taken off.
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Young people like Caris and Derek.
Yeah.
It's the future.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm having my 50 year. And this was Precious Wools of the World book.
Oh, wow.
In search of the world's most precious wools. And Shetland is in here with about 7 other wool types throughout the world.
Gosh.
And this is one of my, that's I think the merino, see?
Yeah.
And this, I'm very proud of this. That's up in Unst. See that bit of land there? That's the furthest north point of land in the United Kingdom, in Britain.
And that's it.
And on there is the lighthouse on that rock. So that's the furthest north you can go.
Wow.
So this is the Shetland, the different types. And this here
horse saddle.
Yeah, well done. This is for a Shetland pony.
Oh.
And then for a bigger horse, then it's woollier. The horse, the Shetland pony is very warm-blooded, and it doesn't need a cover.
Right.
It sweats up.
Right.
So what you have is on a big horse, this would be solid wool.
Do you do any sheepskins or slippers and things?
No, we get that. There's a young couple up in the north of the island that does that. We do have a sheepskin, but this is one that she did for us.
Yeah.
And this is an old Shetland breed, Skadder.
Wow.
This is like the Scandinavian breed.
It's lovely,
And that's
isn't
the
it?
guard here.
Yeah.
But in here you can
There's
get
some crimpy bits.
yeah, you can get some super fine.
Yeah.
So that's an unusual one there.
Yeah, lovely.
We still saw 1794 when he did his report, it's still running around the same sheep. It's like you and me and them, genetics.
Just keep going.
Keeps going.
Well, thank you.
The bigs are the biggest users of the wool, as you can imagine.
Yeah, because they're so big.
Yeah, so that's just about it.
So this is the season right now for you bringing
Yeah,
all the raw wool in?
Look, we're right in the midst now, and it's been hectic.
Wonderful.
And
You hear the rain?
yeah, we're really looking to get an extension.
You need more space.
We need to show the beds and the carpet.
Right, of
Yeah.
course.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lovely
Nice to meet you. Good to see you guys.
Say bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Right, I hope you enjoyed that. Wasn't that a really great time talking with Oliver Henry? He really knows his stuff, and he is featured in the book Shetland Ooh, which is Tom Barr's book about the people of Shetland. Also, you'll find in there Caris, who is a really great weaver. She works at Jamieson and Smith, and you'll find Ella Gordon as well, with a whole host of other Shetlanders whose life revolve around wool and fibre. Shetland Ooh is available in the shop, and this, of course, is by Tom Barr, who is married to Kate Davies, and Kate provided the wording in the book too. So now let's move on to a Coop Cast. It's been a couple of months since you've heard from the Coop. We've welcomed a new Roo to join us after we lost Tom Thumb, and the new Roo grew and is a hearty black and white stallion of a rooster. We named him Lewis Hamilton after our favourite F1 race car driver. Now, the myth is that roosters only crow in the morning. That's not true. This guy crows morning, noon and night. Good thing I don't mind it. I like that. If I hear him, I know all's well out there. We were letting the chickens out on occasion to free range, and they love that. But of course, that meant that the fox got wind of that, and he took two of our new birds. Before we could intervene, and they were just gone. So we lost two birds to the fox. And yeah, we've lost other birds too. We're now down to 8 ladies, 2 of which are from the original flock. And so we have 6 laying hens now. And because they're not all comets, we have noticed a drop in the egg production because the other chickens just don't lay as often as comets do. Hopefully that means they last a little bit longer in their lifespan, though. I mean, these poor chickens, these poor comets that just spit out an egg every day. They look a bit haggard. However, two of them are from the original flock, and I don't think they lay eggs anymore anyway. So yes, we've got 8 girls duly protected by Lewis Hamilton. They're a happy little coop. They seem to get along well. And we're keeping them cooped up a bit more than we'd like just because of that pesky fox. And we're a tiny bit closer to building this trailer, but I did see that Jay had laid out the pieces on the garage floor, which means my car's not in the garage, so that he's starting to lay the pieces. He's starting to lay the pieces out to put the trailer together. And then once we get that trailer put together, we'll get the coop on the trailer and we'll get them moved around. We need to do it before the snow flies, because right now where they are, they're in the way of the snow plow. When he comes to plow us out, he'll probably push the chickens down the hill if we leave them where they are. Yeah, so lots going on. So I'll let you go visit the chickens now, and I'll see you on the other side. Chickens! Hi, buddy. Chickens! Hello! Hello! Hi, girls. Come on. Hello, Lewis. Hello, Lewis. Yes. Hello, Kate. How are you? You want some worms? Let's go get some worms. They love their worms. Go get them. In you go. I use the dried worms to encourage the chickens back into the coop. They come running when they hear that can shaking. There you go. There you go. Come on. Don't be silly. Don't be silly. Oh gosh, you're a big girl. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here, look. Look. Come on, all your friends are inside. There's always one. Come here, baby. You're a very pretty girl. You want some worms? Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here, chicken. Come here, chicken. Come here, chicken. Come on. Come on. There you go. There you go. That's a good girl. I think I'm still missing one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can you hear the geese flying over? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my God. Right, Liz. That was probably 50 Canadian geese flying over. Right, I've lost a chicken. Oh no. Everybody's supposed to reach her. I'm really upset. I just found Aggie passed away in the back of the coop. I don't get emotional about the chickens much. But Agatha is special. Agatha and Kate. Kate will go on forever, I think. I hope. And I just found Aggie, and I think she's probably just passed away. It didn't look like anything got her. And she was cold, so she probably passed away yesterday, and I didn't catch it because I hadn't let the chickens out for a while. They'd been cooped up. Poor old Aggie. Of course, Agatha is the chicken that my sock pattern was named for. Oh, that's sad. Everyone else is fine. I need to go and in and wash. All right, everybody's back in the coop. You've had your nice little run around. Kate, how are we doing, Kate? Are you all right? You did come up and tell me something, didn't you? I know, honey. I know, sweetheart. So I didn't know whether to give you this snippet from the Coop Cast, but why not? I think one of the things I keep saying about the Coop Cast is it's real life, and there's sad times as well as funny and happy times. The Woolly Thistle update. If you're not interested in this, I'll say goodbye and see you next time. Thanks for listening. But if you are interested, here goes. Thank you so much for all your orders and your support of the Woolly Thistle. I couldn't do any of this without you, and I really, really do appreciate the goodwill out there for the Woolly Thistle. Thank you so much. There's still free shipping to the US of $85 and up, and now there's free Canadian shipping if you spend over $100. So please use that. Buy wool, not shipping, right? Let me get the shipping. And the shipping to Canada can be $25. So this is a good deal for Canadians. And if you've got a knitting group and you want to get together and combine orders so that you make that $100, that's fine, do that. So I'm happy to offer free shipping. Now, what else? Oh my goodness. Blacker brushwork came and went in a flurry, in a flash. It was crazy. I'm sorry, I won't be getting any more of this, but I do think that Blacker has some stock left. And even Brit Yarn, she was at Shetland Wool Week when the launch happened, and she might have some because she didn't get going until she got back from Shetland Wool Week. Brushwork is a beautiful, beautiful yarn. I knitted up a swatch in preparation. And I meant to share it with you, and I never quite got round to it. So I saved myself a sweater's worth. So I will be knitting that hopefully at some point. The yarn is just gorgeous. The Scottish Beaumont, the Castle Milk Murret, and the British Alpaca, just a beautiful blend. What else do we have on the Blacker front though? Lioness, which is their 50% linen, 50% wool. I've decided to really get a lot more of that in. So I'm going to be stocking DK and 4-ply. I've never had the 4-ply before. And this yarn is gorgeous. I have knit with it, and it's soft, and because it's got wool in it, it's got a little bit of that stretch, so it doesn't hurt your fingers when you're knitting, yet the linen gives it beautiful drape. So I'm really excited and glad to be moving into the linen field with Blacker. There's lots of Blacker Gotland, and I've replenished the mohair as well. So I've got the Gotland DK and the 4-ply mohair, which is your nylon-less sock yarn if you want to give that a go. All beautiful colours, and both those ranges seem to have a lovely sheen on them in terms of taking the dye. The colours are quite luminous. I have lots and lots of Blacker Classic DK. I've got pretty much all the shades in that, I think. So if you're looking to knit with that really good classic, I like to think of it as a really honest, hard-working yarn. I just finished my Glenfiddich cardigan using Classic DK, and I'm really happy with it. The cables popped right off, so it gives you great relief, and also it's really fun just to knit stockinette with it as well. So really nice colours, good for colour work. It's a DK weight, so you could use it for mittens, and I know that Skein Deer has her Selbu Mitten Club is good for that. Yeah, lots of good uses for Blacker Classic. Samite, I'm pretty much fully stocked on except for Bursting Figs, but I have lots of all the other stuff. Beautiful, luminous colouring, such a soft hand on it and a really nice drape. Berlin Yarn Company, I have a little bit of the DK yarn left, so if you're interested in using that, I would order that sooner than later before it goes. She is not replacing the DK, so once it's gone, it's gone. I've got PT Brown, which is the dark chocolate brown Hebridean. Then there's a grey, which is the Hebridean mixed with Cheviot, which is a good Scottish breed. I think I've got some of that left. And then there's the Speckled Hen, which is the marled yarn of one strand of Hebridean and one strand of Cheviot, and that is really great. Knits up really pretty and good for hats and things like that. I think I might knit Jay a hat with the Speckled Hen. So, or maybe myself. I could see it as a nice sort of fisherman's rib type hat. So yeah, there's some of that. Now, there's going to be 4-ply coming in Berlin Yarn Company, which I am super duper excited about. I did just talk to Meg, and it's held up at the mill. It's not quite finished yet. So we won't be getting that until it's finished, and I think we're looking at November. So mark that in your calendar if you're interested in yarn from Seafaring Sheep. It's just good stuff. I'm waiting to hear from Sue at Isle Yarn because her stuff is almost finished at the mill as well, and I'll be placing an order as soon as she's ready for me to take my order. And I plan to order lots and lots in both DK and fingering. And when that comes, I will make more Isle of Purbeck kits, the beautiful Tales from the Isle of Purbeck shawl made by Annie Claire. That's such a popular shawl, and this yarn is as best a replacement for the Hole and Sons yarn that you can get coming from the same flock of sheep. So yes, I'm looking forward to Isle Yarn coming back. I do have a little bit of DK, and there might be a wee bit of fingering left, 4-ply, but I'll have replenishments as soon as I'm able to. Jamieson and Smith, over 70 colours in stock in the 2-ply, and that stuff is just good, isn't it? Yes, it is. We need that yarn. I have nothing else to say. It's essential in a knitter's stash, I think. It's perfect for colour work. It's a nice woolen, fluffy, crisp, if it can be fluffy and crisp. Well, you know, it's a crisp wool when you're knitting with it, but once you block it, once you wash it, it just blooms and softens with time, with wearing. The more you wear it, the more it softens. Must have. So yeah, lots of colours in that, and I'm getting another big order from them. I think quite a few people are waiting for the shade 202, and it will be coming in with that order. They were waiting for it. It was out of stock at Jamieson and Smith, but it's finally done and milled. And the cones are going well. I've ordered several cones in 202, so if you want that, keep an eye out. I wouldn't wait. They'll go. I'm sure they'll go quickly. I think I did float the idea of me stocking their lace weight and their Aran weight. So let me know if you have any thoughts on that, because the Jamieson and Smith book, I nagged them a little bit, I'm ashamed to say, but I did it for you guys. We are getting the Jamieson and Smith book here. The Woolly Thistle is on its way, and it includes the best patterns. I posted some of the pictures from the book on my Instagram, but I just love some of the patterns in that book, and it calls the different patterns call for lace weight as well as Aran weight as well as the 2-ply. So I'm thinking that I might get in a selection of those with my next order. The Farewell Cap Kit, I've seen a couple of finished objects pop up, and I've posted them on my Instagram. Just really awesome. And I do have a few Farewell Cap Kits left. Somebody just bought a whole bunch of the PT Brown, so I'm not going to be able to make more kits until I get more PT Brown in, but the kits that are in stock now are there. So if you want one, I would get one. And let's see, West Yorkshire Spinners. We finally here in the States got access to the Croft, which is this Aran weight plump speckled yarn made by West Yorkshire Spinners using fleeces from Jamieson and Smith. Very exciting yarn. really pretty. Really, I have a skein right here. It's bouncy and scrumptious. I think scrumptious is how I would describe it. And I can see all kinds of accessories in this, you know, especially hats and mittens. A nice sweater would be good. I think it would take cables well as well, even with all those speckles. So it's really pretty. So there's a little bit left in the shop, and I'm going to have much more coming in, hopefully next week. And that's an Aran white, and it comes in 8 different colours. Tuku is fully stocked, as fully stocked as I can get it, and there are some colours missing. So I'm reaching out to them to see if I can fill my I was going to say fill my holes. Fill in the blanks. That's a better thing to say. But there is lots and lots of replenished yarn in there, and you never know what you're looking for. It might be one of the ones that I have. So yes, if you got any plans for Tuku, I think Hohi Locatelli must have a knit along coming up. I need to go look at that, because I've noticed a trend of 6 or 7 skeins being purchased for that by different folks. So yeah, if you're interested in a Hohi Locatelli garment knit along, I think there's one happening, but I haven't looked, so I don't really know. But yeah, Tuku is doing good, and I'm going to try and get more of that in the shades I don't have. I have loads and loads and loads of Let Lopi in stock, and replenishments of Ploto Lopi is on the way. Ploto Lopi. I need to knit something else with that. That is such an interesting yarn to knit with. And so many of us did the rusty cardigan. It'd be nice if we could find another knit along type thing. I mean, maybe it'll be the Cruden vest using Jamieson and Smith by Isolde Teague, like I mentioned before. Or maybe we should do a Let Lopi we knit along, or a Ploto Lopi. Find something else in Ploto Lopi and knit that. I don't know. Suggestions are welcome. Let me know. I think I'm missing some photos on Instagram because I'm not catching it in time. So don't be shy. Feel free to tag the Woolly Thistle on your pictures. I do love to see your pictures that might involve the Woolly Thistle in some small way. So that would be great. Oh my God, the Woolly Thistle's bookshelf is bursting at the seams. There are so many good books out right now. We've got Knitting Outside the Box by Bristol Ivy, published by Pom Pom, and pre-orders for that are doing very, very well. I keep having to order more, so I know that book is very popular, and I'm really intrigued by it because it's Bristol Ivy, and we're going to have patterns in there, and we're going to have a stitch dictionary, and we're going to have her how-tos in terms of how she designs. So I think it's very intriguing. I like the patterns in it, and it's going to be a really lovely production. Making Stories Woods, coming out of Europe. This book is also doing really well, and I'm taking pre-orders for that. I think that launches officially the end of October, and Knitting Outside the Box I think is November 4th. But pre-orders for both of those are happening, so get your copy if you want one. And Making Stories Woods is a really lovely book. It's a minimalist European point of view. But I like that. And also they're using many of the yarns that I stock at the Woolly Thistle, including Isle yarn, Southdown yarns, Blacker. I'm sure there's another one that I just cannot think of. Oh, Tuku wool is in there as well. So lots of good yarn. It's a good fit for the Woolly Thistle if you like the yarns I stock. So yeah. And then is Shetland by Marie Wallen. I got my order in this week, put it in the shop, and it sold out that day. So I have put in a much bigger order, and that will be leaving Marie Wallen's warehouse on Monday. So I'm hoping that I would even have it in next week, but maybe the week after. Jamieson and Smith's book, the one with the green cover that they launched for Shetland Wool Week, is on its way. Very excited about that. Also on its way from Shetland is the Shetland Wool Week Annual. That's on its way, and I've got an annual from a previous year, and I just love it. So I'm very excited that they let me have some of those for you. I have a few left of Len 3. I am running very low on Len 1 and 2, so if you want that, I wouldn't wait. Amarisu 14 came in, and that is a really lovely magazine. And Laurie Graham of Laurie Times 5 has a lovely notebook section in there again, and it's a very nice shawl that she's making in there. So yeah, I really enjoy Amarisu. Making 4 I have in stock, but I'm not allowed to sell it yet. That'll be coming out soon. As soon as that date comes, I will be releasing that in the store. By Hand 4, the Pacific Northwest, I think is out of stock again, but I am getting more of that. It's on its way. And also, I have pre-ordered for the shop the Woolful calendar for 2018. So you'll be able to get that here. I'm really excited. This is a beautiful calendar with, I think it's pen and ink drawings of sheep and plants that are used for natural dyeing. So yes, that's on its way too. What else? What else? Let me think. Oh yes, I have a new worsted weight yarn coming to the Woolly Thistle. Now in Britain they don't tend to have worsted weight. They sort of go from DK to Aran. And in the States here, we like to knit with worsted weight. So I felt this was an area that was really lacking in the shop. I like to knit with a lot of local wool as well as British wool. I have had a strong desire to stock local to me wool, meaning New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine. Who could I stock in the Woolly Thistle that is not British or European, but that would be a good fit? And honestly, there's lots of wonderful yarns out there from New Hampshire and Vermont and Maine, and I would love to stock many more local to me New England yarns, and I hope that that will happen over time. But for this first American yarn at the Woolly Thistle, I'm really delighted to let you know that I will be stocking Harrisville Designs Watershed. Watershed is their worsted weight yarn that is woolen spun, so it's very light and fluffy. It's rustic. It's dyed in the wool, which means it's dyed as it's still pre-spun phase, and so they're able to make it very tweedy with loads of different colors in each color. And I hope that this will be a good choice for you knitters. It dovetails perfectly with my offerings from Blacker and Tuku and Let Lopi. It really fits the type of wool that I'm attracted to. Harrisville Designs, to tell you a bit more about them, they are a mill located in the historic and very quaint and pretty village of Harrisville in New Hampshire. And way back when, I interviewed Knit Colony of Harrisville Designs. You'll be able to hear that interview if you're interested on the product page in the Woolly Thistle. So it's there. And I'm also working on getting the older episodes up on the podcast page of the Woolly Thistle's website. So if you're going to Rhinebeck, I hope that I bump into you. Do say hello if you hear my voice or see my Woolly Thistle bag. I'll have lots of tote bags with me. So yes, looking forward to meeting lots of listeners and obviously seeing some of my podcaster people too that I like to listen and watch. I hear Helen of Curious Handmade is going to be at Rhinebeck, I think, for the first time. And I'm looking forward to meeting Nicole, the Gentle Knitter, and of course Sarah. Pomegranate will be there. Everyone will be there, I'm sure. So if you're there, I would love to say hello to you. And just a last reminder about Project Peace. If you're interested in looking into that, you can find all the details at thehealthyknitter.com. So until we talk again, if you go out, take your knitting. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to New Hampshire Knits. You can find the New Hampshire Knits Ravelry group at NH Knits. You can find me on Ravelry as NHK Claire. On Instagram, NH_knits. You can email me at nhknits001@gmail.com. And you can find the Woolly Thistle all over the internet as the Woolly Thistle with 2 L's in Woolly.